Hey guys, welcome to this month's Luxury Beauty Lowdown, where I talk about all the highlights from this month's trying and hauling and all of that good stuff. I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorites. I'm going to be sharing with you random thoughts on a lot of these products. And this month, for some reason, but this month, I have a lot of skincare to talk about, more skincare than makeup. So we're gonna start there. So I'm gonna start with a couple of cleansers. Now, I talked about this particular cream cleanser in a video because I had just started using it and I fell in love with it, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it to you guys before I forgot, but I did not forget. I did make a note of it. This is the Almond Hydrating Cream Cleanser, Vitamin C and June Berry. And let me just show you what it looks like here on the inside. I love, love, love the texture of this. It is such a beautiful, creamy, silky, whipped, kind of frothy, bouncy, like all the things, bouncy sort of texture. And it does a great job cleansing. It is a great cleanser. I'm going to talk about another cleanser in just a second, which I think is better for really stubborn kind of makeup. But if you have light makeup on, maybe you have regular mascara that's not waterproof, or maybe it's the first cleanse, like, you know, in the morning or whatever, I highly, highly recommend this cream cleanser. It's just really, really delicious. I can't think of any other word for it, even though you're not going to be ingesting it. But it has just a really, really like faint scent. Nothing too offensive at all. And it does a really good job cleansing, but it leaves my skin feeling really nourished, really plump, really moisturized, but it doesn't leave any sort of film behind. Just a really lovely cream cleanser. I just love the texture so much. So wanted to mention this hydrating cream cleanser from Almond. And then the other cleanser that I've been using and really enjoying is the Equilibrium Transformative Cleansing Balm from Hourglass. You guys know I love cleansing balms. I think they just do a really good job taking off like really stubborn makeup, like waterproof makeup, all of those things, and really, really getting off, you know, SPF and really heavy makeup and all of that. This particular cleansing balm is very rich. There are a lot of cleansing balms out there that I think kind of start out rich, but the more you kind of work them in, they just sort of like fall apart and they get, I don't know, just a little bit too thin. This stays extremely silky and rich. It breaks down to such a nice, dense kind of oil. I really like the texture because I can sit there and like really massage it into my skin, and it doesn't just like kind of break down and start like running down my face. It's really, really dense, and I love that. And it's just very effective at cleansing. So when I have like really thick SPF on, maybe I've just come in from a walk, or I have really heavy makeup on with like waterproof mascara or something like that, I really love using this cleansing balm. It also has a very nice fragrance. It's very spa-like, it's very, very fresh, it's very invigorating. So that for me is a nice plus. So that's the Equilibrium Cleansing Balm from Hourglass. And then I've kind of, I don't know, like rediscovered a skincare favorite. This is the Guerlain Youth Watery Oil. They recently reformulated this. So this is called the Youth Watery Oil Serum, but I like to use it more as like a lotion. So I use it at that step where I'm kind of getting ready for the rest of my skincare. So after I've cleansed my skin, I've toned it if I feel like toning it that day. And then I like to always kind of put on a lotion. So you guys have probably heard me talk about the Sisley Essential Skincare Lotion, or even the Clé de Peau Synactive. I think, do they just call it a lotion? I think they call it a lotion, or maybe an essence. I like using those, but I decided to change it up and I started using this and remembered how much I really, really loved it. So I used this before it was reformulated in much the same way, like in the summertime for a little bit of like extra moisturization, but in a very light formula. Because, you know, in the summertime, not only am I kind of sweaty, even though I have dry skin, I don't want to layer on too much skincare. I'll be putting on SPF. I'll be reapplying SPF. So anyway, you get my drift. I like to kind of keep it light where I can. And this Youth Watery Oil is absolutely perfect. So it has this very, very lightweight, you can see how thin that is, very, very lightweight liquid. And inside there are all these beads that basically have the oil in there. So you just use the dropper and you drop some out onto the palm of your hand and you kind of burst those beads, and you can even feel like the oil that comes and starts to mix in with the thinner liquid. And then you just spread it all over your face. And it's this wonderful, wonderful like bump in moisturization, but it's not heavy feeling at all. So I've really been enjoying this, especially in the summertime. So I've been enjoying two new eye products as well, and the Revive Under Eye Illuminator I absolutely love. This is what I've been using during the daytime. So I do have it on, you know, underneath all of this makeup. And I love it because it's like, I don't know, 95% skincare and 5% makeup, because it's got this gorgeous, gorgeous sheen to it. Do you see that? It has a peachy tint, and there's the illumination. But in terms of it being skincare, it's so smoothing, it's so moisturizing. I love it. It absorbs really, really nicely, and it leaves this very subtle sheen. I don't really like too much of a highlight sort of situation underneath my eyes because I feel like it just makes me look kind of sweaty, but I do like a little bit. I like a little bit of that glow from within, lit from within appearance underneath my eyes, because it just looks like, you know, your whole face is lit up. It's a great eye cream, but this little special action it's got going on with this like beautiful sheen and peachy tint, it's so beautiful. I mean, it's so sheer. There's no coverage or anything like that, but it really just makes your under eyes look very special, very special. So that's the Revive Under Eye Illuminator. And did I show you? It does have like a pump top there. So gorgeous. I've been using this again as my day cream. And in the evenings, although you can use both for evenings or both for daytime, I've been using the Beauty Bio, the Eyelighter Concentrate. This is really, really smoothing, and I noticed it almost immediately when I put it on. And the only reason why I use this at night is because I am using this during the day, because it does have that like sheen. I feel like there's kind of no point to using this at night because no one gets to appreciate that beautiful sheen except for Butters and my husband. But this eyeliner concentrate from Beauty Bio is a really, really nice like skin prep eye cream, because it does smooth, it does deep huff. I really saw a difference immediately where my skin just looked completely blurred and so much less puffy, which is generally the issue that I deal with. I don't suffer too much from dark circles, you know, unless I haven't really gotten a lot of sleep, but I really deal with a lot of puffiness, and this really, really helped. I mean, between the cooling tip and the actual eye cream, wonderful. This was really, really wonderful. So highly recommend this Beauty Bio Eyeliner Concentrate. And this eyeliner concentrate has vitamin C and plant-powered retinol. I guess that's what caused that like smoothing effect, because it was like instant. As soon as I put it on, I was like, oh my gosh. I looked in the mirror and it was like, whoop, like it looked like I had a filter on. So anyway, this is really, really gorgeous. And then I just started using 2 new day creams as well. Let me talk about this Dior Capture Ox C Treatment Day Cream. This, I was surprised at how rich and dense, yet not heavy, this formula was. And usually when I see day cream, I'm like, it's gonna be too light for me. I have really, really dry skin. I like to feel extra special moisturized. But when I saw like how dense and thick this cream was, I was like, oh wow. But I also, I don't want it to feel too heavy on my skin. This is so rich, but not heavy. And I was so impressed with how it just like absorbed into my skin, how moisturized my skin felt, how plumped my skin felt for a day cream. I usually have to go straight for like the rich cream or a night cream or something like that. That's how dry my skin is. For anyone out there who suffers from extremely dry skin like I do, I would definitely give this day cream a shot, because it is very, very moisturizing. Now, if you have oily skin, I really don't know. It's so hard for me to talk to oily skin because my skin is so dry. But just know that this formula is on the thicker and the richer side, but it doesn't feel heavy or like sit on top of the skin. So maybe worth at least maybe getting a sample or something of this. But anyway, that's the new Dior Day Cream. And then the other cream that it just really impressed me. This is the Wildling Moon Bounce. It's 2% bioretinol sea moss plumping moisturizer. And this is the one that I'm actually using today. So another one where I was like, wow, that is some thick cream. Can you see how dense that is? It is really, really thick. This is definitely a cream that I feel like is even thicker than this one. So definitely for the dry skin people out there. But I will say that this definitely sits on my skin a little bit longer than the Dior. So it's thicker in that way, but it almost gave my skin this whole like beautiful, almost like a Dior Star Filter quality. I mean, there's absolutely no metallic sheen or shimmer, anything like that in this cream. Yet it kind of made my skin look so smooth. I was getting compliments on my skin when I would put this on during the day and then go out and run errands or whatever. Cashiers were complimenting me on my skin, and I was like, I think it's the Moon Bounce. So I kept putting it on, I kept getting compliments, and I was like, wow. It's just extremely, extremely moisturizing, but it's extremely smoothing all at the same time. So very, very impressed with this Wildling Moon Bounce 2% bioretinol. Just really great stuff. And I know Credo sells this brand, so I think they are like a, you know, a clean beauty brand, if that's important to you. And it is made in the US. So that is the Wildling Moon Bounce. Good stuff. So a couple of things in terms of fragrance. The Guerlain Aqua Allegoria Mandarin Basilic. I actually looked it up on YouTube because I was like, Basilic? You know, I'm doing like the American pronunciations. And I looked up this gentleman who just had like this beautiful French accent, and he said the Mandarin Basilic. So I don't know, we're gonna go with Basilic. But this is such a wonderful fragrance. I love citrus fragrances. I think they're so fresh, they're so clean, they're so friendly, and they're so happy. I mean, the whole Aqua Allegoria line is like the lighter line from Guerlain, and I love their Agua Fresca. I think that was the first one I ever purchased from Guerlain, and oh, just so fresh. But anyway, this one is especially citrusy. So I'm on the Guerlain site, and it describes this fragrance as juicy and tangy mandarin flesh transcended by the aromatic freshness of basil, then energized by green tea over a background of woody notes. It's so fresh, it's so outdoorsy, and I would definitely say this is very unisex. I don't think it's too light. It's definitely not too sweet. It's just very juicy. It's really, really juicy. And it kind of reminds me of like a toned down, little bit of a cleaner version than the Byredo Pulp, which I also really love. That kind of smells like orange juice. You know, it has kind of like a thickness to it. It's pulpy. It smells like, you know, a cocktail maybe that you've made and the base is orange juice. This definitely feels a little bit more outdoorsy. It feels like, you know, maybe you're walking through an orange grove, like something like that. It's just so beautiful. So beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So just wanted to mention that. And then I wanted to mention this candle, but I'm a little embarrassed. I'm a little embarrassed by what has happened. So the candle I'm talking about is in this beautiful holder from the last Candle Co. And inside is the Hotel Lobby Napa Valley candle. So, I can talk about both things, but the Hotel Lobby, I'm gonna put that down because it's very heavy, but the Hotel Lobby Napa Valley candle is so nice. Hold on, I'm gonna look up the notes. It's another scent that's very juicy, but it's definitely a little deeper and a little bit sweeter. So let's see, it says, a warm, welcoming scent that brings together ripe black currant, aged oak barrels, and sweet soil, paying tribute to Napa Valley and the romance of its harvest. Pairs well with cooler temperatures, cozy cashmere, and a big glass of your favorite Cabernet Sauvignon. I will agree that it's probably better suited for cooler weather, the holidays, things like that. There's something about that black currant that, you know, it's like I said, it's like deeper than this, even though it is very juicy, it is a little bit fruity. There is a sweetness to that. But I just love it. I love it. This is a candle I could burn all year round. Now, the reason why I'm a little bit embarrassed is because I put the candle into this holder, if you will, and I was like, oh, awesome, it fits. Well, now I can't get it out. Now it's stuck in there, so whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna continue burning the candle, and when it's empty, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But these last candle holders, if you will, are magnificent. So this is marble, and they have all of these different stones. I have another one I believe is travertine, and they're so I mean, it's like solid stone. They do sell their own candles that fit in here properly. And is it diptyque? The like average diptyque candle fits in here also. This obviously is just a little bit too big. Like it fit in there, but now I'm having a hard time getting it out. But anyway, this is gorgeous, but I did want to shout out specifically the Hotel Lobby Napa Valley candle. Okay, let's get into makeup. Now, okay, we have some good stuff, that I tried over this past month. The Say new baked powder. So this is their slip tint undetectable bake setting powder, and I have shade number 1 here. Let me open this up. So here is shade number 1. This powder is gorgeous. Now, I don't think this powder is going to be for everyone. Let me just say that up front. I don't think this powder is going to be for everyone. Now, the reason why I say that is because, and I hope you can see this through the camera, this powder has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's really gorgeous. I would say it has a soft satin sheen, but it has even a little bit more than some of my favorites that I love because they have a little bit of a sheen. This has an even more prominent sheen to it. I love it. I love it because I have dry skin. I will take any kind of sheen I can get. It also does this wonderful blurring effect. It's just a really wonderful powder. And because it's a baked formula, I feel like I can pick up like a light amount. It's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that's what I have. I mean, it's underneath all of this makeup now, but I do have it brushed all over my face after I put on some foundation, and I used this combo today, which I'm not going to bore you with again because I've talked about that nonstop. But this is such a beautiful powder. This pretty much blows away any other powders I've been trying over the past several months. I love this. Absolutely love this. Now, the next product I want to mention is one that I thought I talked about in my last video, but I don't think I did. I think I actually tried this for the first time after I did last month's Luxury Beauty Lowdown, and that's the Farrah Homidi bronzer. This is the Essential Bronzer Compact, and I have it in the shade Bois, which is the lightest shade. And I do have this dusted like all over my face. I bronzered with it a little bit. I love this bronzer. I've been going on and on about this bronzer this past month, but the tone, the formula is great. It is a pressed powder formula, easy to pick up, not tricky, blends out beautifully. It's not overly powdery. You can see there isn't like a ton of kick up in the compact. And the tone of this bronzer is absolute perfection. It has a little bit of a pinky tinge to it. So it just sort of like melds into my skin. It blends into blush really beautifully, or I should say the blush blends into the bronzer really beautifully. It's not too orangey. I really don't like too orangey bronzers. I know if you have a warmer skin tone than I do, this probably is not the right shade for you. But if you have a neutral, cool leaning skin tone, I think this is absolute perfection. I also love the packaging. I just love her little compacts. They are refillable. They're just like the perfect size. I love how they're rounded. They have a nice weight. Just gorgeous. So that's the Farrah Homidi Essential Bronzer Compact. Love this. All right, in terms of blush, I made a pretty bold statement over the course of this past month because Charlotte Tilbury came out with these unreal blush healthy glow sticks. And you know, I had just gone through getting all the new Dior blush sticks. I just feel like there's been a lot of blush sticks, cream to powder, powder blush, just a lot of blushes all around. Anyway, I decided to try all of these. So I do have all 6 shades. I like the Charlotte Tilbury blush sticks more than the Dior blush sticks. And I know a lot of people have been asking me that, and I said that before. I said that over this past month, but I was like, I'm still gonna play around with them. Yeah, I'm just reaching for these more. I just find all of the shades in the Charlotte Tilbury line to be much more wearable. There are definitely some Dior shades that I just don't reach for, would not reach for. I really like the Toffee and the Candy, as you guys know. Rosewood is really nice, but I love all of these shades from Charlotte Tilbury. And sorry, I'm like holding up the Berry Glow, but these are all 6 of the shades. Now, the one shade that I've been using a lot is the Cherry Glow. And even the Dior Cherry version, while I like it, it is brighter. So again, it's a little bit more, I don't know, less everyday, if you will, where this cherry shade, it's a really nice red. It's a little bit deeper, and all of the shades in the Charlotte Tilbury line have a little bit of sheen to them. I feel like I've been talking about sheen this entire video, but it has a really gorgeous, very, very subtle, very subtle. It doesn't look like highlighter or whatever, but it just adds a little bit of life to what would otherwise be like a matte blush stick. So anyway, I love the Charlotte Tilbury ones. There's also no fragrance. There's no kind of strange minty fragrance, and the packaging is quite nice. I like that they're color coded, much like the Dior. I mean, if I had to pick packaging, I probably like the Dior a little bit more. It's a little bit more special, but I really like these Charlotte Tilbury blush sticks. I think the level of pigmentation is really nice. They blend out beautifully. There's just nothing tricky about them. They go on over powder beautifully. They go on over creams beautifully, like other foundation. And this is another observation I made, and I shared this in a previous video, but I find these sticks to be very consistent. Like if you like a few of the shades in here, they will behave pretty much the same on your cheeks. With the Dior, I just found, I don't know, I found the level of pigmentation to be just a little, you know, high and low between some of the shades. So anyway, I love these. Love these. And I am wearing Cherry Glow today. And I bet you can guess what's on my eyes, but I love the Lisa Eldridge Desert Gleam eyeshadow palette. I just love olives. You know, I'm pretty much like a neutrals gal, but if I were to do a color, you've heard me say this, if I were to do a color, I really like greens, and this just really spoke to me. So when I demoed this palette, when I first got it, I did not use this shade. I think I used the rest of them, but I didn't use this shade because I just had like enough eyeshadow on my lids, but I used this one today and I have it basically like on the inner corners there. So that is, I would say, like the party shade in this particular palette. And even then, I feel like it's very wearable. I don't feel like I look like I put on party makeup to just go grocery shopping. Like, I feel like it's very wearable. And of course, leave it to Lisa Eldridge to create such a beautiful color story, for all of these colors and all of these shades to work so beautifully, so cohesively, and for it to look just chic instead of gaudy. So I love it. I love the formula. We've got mattes, we've got shimmers. It's a beautiful, beautiful, really versatile, more versatile I think than it looks, really versatile color story in here. So that's the Desert Gleam eyeshadow palette from Lisa Eldridge. Just gorgeous. Speaking of that, I may as well just talk about her Rouge Experience lipstick. So she came out with 3 new shades for this summer collection, which included this eyeshadow palette. And I love, is it Toasted? I think it's just Toasted, right? It's number 187. So that is this lipstick right here. And that is what I have on today. I have a lip gloss on, just sort of tapped over it lightly, but basically it's this shade. It is so, not only is it perfect with this eyeshadow palette, but it's just like the perfect cool toned nude, because it's not too gray. It doesn't make you look like a complete and total corpse. Not that I've ever minded that, but this has a little bit more life to it, and it's stunning. Like, there's just enough coolness to this shade. It's so good. It's so perfect. And this Rouge Experience formula is so comfortable. It is really, really moisturizing feeling. The pigmentation level is really beautiful. I love it. And all of these are refillable. So that is also really handy. Isn't that gorgeous? And then Sarah Creole, she's come out with lip glosses. So these are the No Further Questions lip glosses. And I mean, I'm sure you guys could guess it, but I love the 2 shimmer shades. So there's 2 shimmer shades and then 4 cream shades. The 2 shimmer shades are On Top and My Pleasure. And My Pleasure is what I have lightly tapped over the Lisa Eldridge Toasted shade. But what I love about these lip glosses, because that's another thing, there's been a ton of like tinted lip balms and lip glosses that have come out recently. But what I love so much about these is there's no fragrance, there's no taste to them, they're not minty, they're not gonna make my lips like artificially plump in any way. They're just a straight up beautiful lip gloss. They have a really beautiful amount of shine. They're not super duper like glass-like shininess. I always think it's just a little bit too much. I like a gloss that looks like plump and juicy, but not like over the top. The whole Sarah Creole line, I feel like, is developed for women versus girls. They're very just like straightforward products, and I appreciate that so much. So I absolutely love these 2 shades, On Top and My Pleasure. And then I have a few products that I have just some thoughts about. They aren't favorites, but they're not fails. I just have some thoughts about them. So first, actually, it's sitting right here. So the Pat McGrath Glass 001 Skin Fetish Glass 001 Legendary Glow Setting Spray. This, I think, is fun. It's fun. If you really want that glass skin, really kind of shiny look to your skin, if you're a makeup artist, if you're someone who just likes to have fun with their makeup, I think this is great. I think you really get there. I was actually reading up on this product. It was either on her site or Sephora or whatever. And she talks about how you do like 1 layer, you'll get like 1 level, and then up to kind of like 5 layers, you'll really get that glass skin. I think that's great. So I do like this product. It's just not something I'm going to use a lot. So I can't really say it's going to be a favorite of mine. I don't necessarily need to have like glass, like super glass, shiny, porcelain doll looking skin all the time. But if you want that, I think this is actually very, very effective. Although you do have to get up to like 5 layers to really get that like shellacked, lacquered look. It does take a bit, but you'll get there. No other product I know of, like in a spray bottle, will get you there, but this will get you there. I much prefer, as you guys know, I'm not gonna go on and on about this, but I much prefer the one size powder melt spray. This is the face spray for me. The other product that I want to talk about, which is actually upstairs in my bathroom, is that Pkwy body buffer. So I hauled this in a PR haul, and then I talked about it in a vlog because I just started using it and I wanted to pass along some thoughts. I think it's really cool. It's basically a sponge that's infused with soap. So all you have to do is like wet it in the shower and then that's it. Like you don't have to suds it up. It's like all built in. So I think it's really cool, and 2 come to 1 box. Each sponge will last 30 washes, so about a month. And I really like the idea of it. I think it's really, really cool. What I wish was a little bit different is that I wish the sponge was just a softer, squishier sponge. It's pretty hard and it's pretty dense. And I know some people love that. If you really want like exfoliating action, it's great for that. But I kind of like a soft, a soft fluffy sponge. I don't mind being like a little bit more gentle with my skin and then maybe going in with an extra exfoliator like once or twice a week or whatever. But if I'm going to use the sponge every day for my cleansing, I wish it was a little bit softer. So that's a personal preference to me, but I just wanted to pass that along to you guys. Okay, the Hourglass Quads. Now, I talked about these, was it last week? I think I did like a trying, new makeup video. And I just wanted to just sort of say it again because my feelings haven't changed that much since that video. I have used them maybe a couple more times since that video. These shadows are very nice. I don't have any complaints about these shadows. This is the Expressionist palette, which is my favorite. I like the metallic finish. I like this color story. It's very pretty. I think it could work with any mattes that you may have in your collection already. And then they have this Minimalist all matte palette, which I also enjoyed. And then they have this Realist palette, which has a matte, a satin, a shimmer, and a metallic in there. And then they have 3 other ones. So these are the only 3 that I picked up. Now, the reason why this isn't in my favorites is because I just don't think there's anything terribly special about them. I think they're very nice. I think if you're like, oh, those are the matte shadows that I would use constantly, and I love having them in this like little quad. I think it's light, it's portable, perfect for travel. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with these shadows. I think they all performed really nicely. And if one color story really speaks to you, I wouldn't hesitate in getting them. Like I said, I just don't think there's anything terribly special. They're very basic, which is not a bad thing. I think these color stories and the layout and everything just speak to a lot of people. They're very safe. They're very, very safe eyeshadow quads. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't think there's anything terribly special, especially the formula. The mattes, they work fine. The metallics, really pretty. They're very metallic. The satin and the shimmer, they're okay. They're okay. The satin I think could be a little bit more satiny. You can't even see in the pan. This one that my fingers are near is the satin shade. And it's very, very close to the matte. I feel like it could be amped up a little bit. The shimmer shade could probably actually pass as a satin, except that it has little micro glitters in there. And the metallics are very, very nice, very smooth. They have a nice sheen to them. So again, I feel like, if you like the color stories, maybe you're like an Hourglass fan, there's nothing wrong with these. I would pick them up, but again, just nothing terribly special. Okay, and I have one fail. And to me, this is a spectacular fail. And I mentioned it very quickly when I did my haul, but I got this, or I picked this up during the Nordstrom anniversary sale. This was the Bobbi Brown Easy Neutrals eyeshadow palette set. And here is the box. I've kept the box, I've kept the product for this video, but I am gonna be returning this. So when I first saw pictures of this on Instagram or somewhere, I saw pictures of it. It wasn't actually on the Nordstrom site. I got really excited because if you look at this picture on the box and whatever's floating around online, these look like baked shadows. And I was like, oh my God, no way. That looks like similar to this palette, which I love. Look at these baked shadows. This was the Pink Glow Luxe eyeshadow palette. Now, Bobbi Brown had the Luxe eyeshadows. They were like mono shadows, single shadows. And they came out with this palette. And I was like, oh my God, this was hard to get your hands on. I think I ordered this like from Selfridges. It's sold out over and over again. It's been discontinued, long discontinued. I think this came out like a few years ago, but this was gorgeous. Absolutely. I mean, it is gorgeous. I love it. And I love this baked gel powder formula. So this, while it doesn't look exactly like those Luxe eyeshadows, this box and some other pictures I've seen make it look like these are baked shadows. Now, if you go on to the actual Nordstrom site, it actually looks like pressed shadows. And I was like, well, that's weird. I wonder which one it is, which is why I purchased it. So when I got home, and that's when you saw my unboxing, I realized that these are pressed shadows. So thankfully, Nordstrom has a great return policy. I can just go ahead and return these. So here's the pressed shadows. Now, nothing against pressed shadows, and nothing against this particular palette. They look very pretty. The colors look very, very nice. I didn't even bother swatching it because I'm gonna be returning this. But I think, you know what really, really angered me was if you look at this price, so this is exclusive, $69. This is $137 value. I was like, well, how much is that eyeliner? This eyeliner is $36. So they're basically telling me that this eyeshadow quad from Bobbi Brown is $101 of pressed shadows. Maybe if it was of their Luxe eyeshadows, I'm like, okay, maybe. But you're gonna tell me that this Bobbi Brown quad is $101. I was like, no, they're trying to get one over on us with this picture where they've raised the pans to make it look like it's baked. It's not. I just really feel like they were trying to get one over on us. So I just wanted to share that, even though I think by the time this goes up, the Nordstrom anniversary sale may be over. But you know, even if those pressed shadows are nice, even if they work beautifully, it is not $101 value. I think this whole thing is very, very shady. Very shady. Okay guys, that is it for this month's Luxury Beauty Lowdown. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'll link to everything down below in my description box. I think what I'm gonna start doing is pinning a comment at like right below this video with basically my description box, because I get so many questions all the time about like, oh, what is fill in the blank? And I have to say like, oh, it's in the description box. And then, you know, if I'm not like on mobile, I'll just put the link in there for your ease, not a problem. But I know the description box can be difficult to get to, and I know they keep changing it. And if you're on mobile, I know it's like tricky. It's like, where do I tap? What is it? What are you talking about? So if you're interested in any of these products, I've linked them down below, and I've also pinned a comment with the links. Anyway, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.